how to start a junk removal business in 2024.
Ooh, so it's harder now. I would say it's a little harder now than it was when we first started.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot more people doing it now. You really got to be a hustler. You really got to get your name out there, get your brand out there, and you got to have systems in place. You can't, I mean, 7 years ago when we started this business, there was maybe 70 haulers, 60 haulers out here in Sonoma County. Now there's anywhere from 100 to like 120. There's like trailers on every single street corner advertising, hey, we do junk removal. So you got to just be a beast, go out there and make shit happen, and don't be a complainer and educate yourself. That's why it's so important to watch these YouTube videos of people dropping knowledge or going to these events and being around people there are where you want to be at. So it's going to be harder, but it can be done.
And not only that, in one way, it's easier, and I'll explain that, because when we did first start, we were searching YouTube, and there was like 2 people you could watch. There really was like 2 people. That's it. And so we would sit there, and there's the one person in particular, Tim Doss. We would watch, and I would like be setting. I always have pen and paper. I would be setting, and I would learn at least one thing in every video he did. And, it was something as simple as SEO. I was like, what's he talking about? What in the world is he talking about? SEO? And then when I looked it up, I was like, oh, well, I should have known that. I just didn't know the term, but search engine optimization. Okay, now I know what he's talking about. But I didn't know how to do a website. I did all kinds of things I didn't know. But what I mean by easier is now you can search junk removal. There's not just us, there's all kinds of information on starting junk removal. And the books that you just showed, there's Leading with Purpose, which would help in any business, actually even help if you're a parent, really good, and just leadership skills, and it's right there for us to order or read. And then Xavier comes out with the other stuff. And it's like, we didn't have this before, like how to get commercial leads, like inside scoops on stuff. So, some people whine and complain. Oh, people are selling books. Oh, people are doing classes. Oh, they're saturating the market with their YouTube videos. But really, you wouldn't be complaining about those things if you were doing really, really well in your business, and you would do really well in your business if you took classes, took courses, went to expos, read books. Yeah. We live in a time where you can get a lot of information out there.
And I would say too, if it wasn't for Tim Doss and his videos back in the day, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I got a lot of knowledge from his videos. So YouTube is a place where you can learn a lot of shit.
So I want to shout out the Junkster. He said, Junkster here. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in, brother. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll definitely make sure to bring them up. So I got to say about the whole YouTube thing. I am getting a little overwhelmed. My head is kind of spinning. I chose to wait to January 1st to get actually up and running and all that. So I've just been, trying to go through YouTube and kind of figure out everything. And the one thing that I've learned in the junk removal business is that everybody's trying to sell you something, some sort of program, some sort of service and all. And you start thinking that you need everything. And you start kind of getting like anxiety, like, if I'm not doing this part, I don't know anything about SEO. Should I hire somebody for SEO? Should I hire somebody to make a website? All that crazy stuff. And, I do know there is some haters out there. I've been listening to a couple other old school guys in the industry, and you could see, they got their own YouTube channel, and they're kind of like, telling everybody, oh, you shouldn't go and get a coach. You shouldn't go and do this. And you start second guessing everything and what's the right way to do things and all. So I kind of wanted to ask you guys, like, what is like the basics that, you know, for somebody like myself that's starting in January and all, where do I want to start? You know, because you could also come into this and just drop crazy money and get everybody's services and, you know, get people to build your websites and all that. What do you actually have to do to be successful and, you know, not just drop a crazy amount of money before you're actually earning money?
So what I would do for sure is get a website. I would get a Google My Business. I would go on YouTube and learn how to put keywords into your website. And also on Google My Business, there's ways you can feed it and do certain things to help it out. You want to definitely get your reviews up, and you want to be on every single free platform out there and just stay consistent advertising all the time. And one thing me and the JoJo didn't do at first, I wish we would have done, was had a CRM. The reason why is it's like you can run a business. Like I ran a business without a CRM. Like, you know what I mean? I did that and it was cool. But it's like going mudding in a two-wheel drive truck. You can do it, but you're only going to get so far. You want to have the right systems in place if you want to grow your business and run a business, especially when you don't want to be on the trucks no more, or you want to send people out. You want to have all those contacts in there. You want to have all the information in there. So I'm going to give Andrew a plug. We use Autopilot. I'm an investor. So if you guys want to check out Autopilot, that's one thing me and the JoJo didn't do at first, was have a CRM in place. So it's so important. A lot of people say, oh, you don't need that. You don't need that. Trust me, all the big boys, they need that. They use that. The reason why, it works. You'll make more money with it.
Yeah, we didn't understand the value of your customers' information, you know, and your big businesses, they know, they've always known. That's why they have you fill something out, like at least your email before you can even like shop on their website, right? You have to sign in. There's so much value in being able to contact past clients, you know, either whether it's like a text blast or an email or just some way to, you know, contact your past clients. But actually going back to your question, because your question was, what are the things you need to do? Because like we didn't have money, so we couldn't pay somebody to do a website for us. So I actually just had to learn how to do that. And I took advantage of working on the weekends. I was working at a lodge and I just had a lot of downtime where people weren't coming in. So I thought, so I just got on GoDaddy and I was like, well, how hard is it? You know, and I was messing around and I was like, oh, well, this is where you insert pictures and this is where you can put wording. This is pretty easy. So I did ours myself. Now, it was basic. It was a website. It wasn't the absolute best, and there wasn't a ton of keywords because I didn't understand all of that. But as I learned more, I kept adding to it and learning more. And then I was like, oh, so you shouldn't use stock photos. You should take pictures yourself and actually post it up there. That helps your SEO. So you learn little tricks and you change them as you learn them. And you just keep adding to it. And I also feel that it's better to do it yourself because if you're doing a lot of stuff to your Google My Business and your website and you're posting on Instagram and Facebook, when you do one thing different and your phone starts ringing more, you're like, oh, if somebody else is doing that for you, you have no idea. You just think. And if you call them, they'll just say, oh, you're just ranking now or whatever they're going to say to you. But if you notice that, I noticed every time I did an update on our website, our phone rung for like crazy for the next couple of days after I did that. And I was like, that's what, so you know what works and what doesn't work in your area. And with Google Business, if you have somebody that's taking care of all that for you, how do they know, unless they do some extreme research, how do they know what are the high income areas in your city? You know, how do they know all those keywords and all those zip codes and are they actually gonna go to those cities and take pictures and upload them on Google Business Profile? They're not doing any of that. So I just, I don't always trust those big
Yeah.
companies.
So one thing you gotta be aware of if you're just starting this type of business or any type of business is be careful of people trying to separate you from your money. Because trust me, you'll get phone calls all the time saying, "Hey, you don't rank on Google. Hey, we can make you rank on Google. We can do this. We can do that for you." Like the JoJo said, when you do it on your own, you see what works. You know it's working. Hey, that worked. I can buy 50 more signs and put 50 more signs out. Or, hey, you know what? I ran a Facebook boost over here in this target area right here. You know what? We landed that $3,000 job and that $2,000 job. Let's keep it running. Let's keep doing that. So that's a benefit of doing it yourself than paying someone else to do it for you. Now, I'm not saying there's not good companies out there. There are, but there's a lot of scammers and people just trying to take your money. So just be aware of that.
How long was it until when you got your business up and running that you built your website and you did Google My Business page? Was that at day one?
So I highly suggest that we did all these things before we even had all the money saved for our truck. And that's our pickup truck because we started with just a used pickup truck. So, I created the website, we created a Yelp.
We did every single thing.
We had everything because I remember we did like we were in business for maybe 3 weeks, and we went to this one house, and when the lady was done, she was like, "Oh, I love like all of your guys' stuff, your Yelp, your website. How long have you been doing this for?" And I think I said like 2 or 3 weeks, and she just looked at me and she was like, "Oh, I thought you guys had been doing this for years." But that's what I wanted. I wanted it to look like we already kind of had a presence, like we didn't just start. But in order, you have to have all those things in place, before you start.
And I think the way that you're starting your business is the best way to do it. Like you started your business watching a bunch of videos, trying to figure out the game and seeing what works and what doesn't work. You know what I mean? And then like you just educated yourself. And now you're like on YouTube interviewing the top dogs in the business, which is great too. So every time you do an interview, guess what? You're learning more stuff every single day. So that's the way to do it.
Yeah, actually, I've been like a sponge in this world and just trying to learn from everybody the best ways of going at things. And what I am realizing is that I'm seeing the strengths that each top dog has in this industry and how they utilize that. And there's so many different routes to being successful in this industry. And, I've also seen a couple of the OG channels that have been in the game for a very, very long time, even longer than you guys. They got like their set way and they kind of dismiss any other way. And, almost every industry that I've got into business wise, I've watched that occur, and it's always the OGs that are mad with the new evolving ways that they're stuck in their old ways. And, they kind of dismiss the newbies coming in that are applying their strengths and showing us different ways to be successful. So the main thing that I want to make clear is, from being in so many different businesses, there's not just one way to be successful. There is many different ways and different routes that people take, and that is one of the things that I'm learning definitely in this business. I look at you guys and the first thing that comes to me is organic growth, from, being out every day and, putting out yard signs and, networking with all the local people. And, that seems to be your bread and butter and what you guys are very good at, but I've also seen other guys, and that's why I have Andrew Thompson coming on here as well. And he went at it a different way where everything is kind of like online marketing and Google ads and, SEO. And, I'm not saying that you guys aren't doing some of those things too, but, where you guys are more focused on is the organic growth and all that. And that's what I really love, that there's so many different ways to get to that success. And you should learn from everybody and keep, each one in mind and see which one applies best for you and your business.
Yep.
Also, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I also want to say I'm very happy to see we got 30 people in here watching.
All right.
Definitely going to run through, some of the comments in here. And just because we have so many people in here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to raffle off at the end of the show one of Kevin Hess's books, Leading with Purpose. I really, truly believe in this book. I think any entrepreneur in any business is going to see the value in this. So, stay tuned, everybody. At the end of the show, I'm definitely going to raffle off one of these, and somebody's going to be a lucky winner to that. I just want to catch up on some of the people in the chat. We got Admired C. He says C&J Junk Removal here from Ohio. What's up, brother? How you doing? Green Up Junk Removal. He just said, I got my truck back from getting my logo all over it. Also took it one step further. Have a white Dodge Charger I got on the cheap. It looks tight and is so loud, so I got my logo on it just like my truck. The only thing I want to say about that Green Up Junk Removal, and just so that you could look into that for yourself, is you got to be careful with as far as putting logos on your personal truck, especially if you only have personal insurance. You technically should have commercial insurance, and that's something that, if God forbid you got into an accident on the road, the first thing those other people are going to do is write down probably your business name and make a report that it was a business truck, and you might have some problems with the insurance if you don't have the proper commercial insurance. So I strongly urge you to go and talk with, if you don't have an insurance broker, talk with Toby Stubbs. He is the man in the junk removal industry. I've had him on interview a couple of times. He is just an amazing guy. And just let me give you a quick example. I was getting quotes in California and all, and for commercial insurance for my NPR dump truck, and I was hearing 17,000, 20,000. I kind of shit my pants. I got to be real with everybody. I was expecting a lot less. I was expecting it to be expensive, maybe like 10K or something. But when I'm hearing 17,000, 20,000, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be working for an insurance company to pay them off. So when I met up with Matt, that was one of the first things that we talked about. And Matt was like, yo, bro, I got the person for you. Go hit up Toby Stubbs. He's from Chicago. He's just the guy. He's got so many connections. He knows how to get around things and all. So the first thing I did is I hit up Toby, and I kind of just told him what I was trying to do. He got on the phone with me on a three-way. He called a couple of these insurance companies that gave me prior quotes, and I realized that I was putting wrong titles on certain things and doing things not the right way, and because of that, it was really jacking up the price and the quotes. So just by him being involved in this process, it took some time. It was a little over a month. I had some other things going on. I had to change licenses in states and all that just to make things work out and all. But at the end of the day, he got me in $6,000. So we went from the minimum was 17,000 before that. And it was actually the day of the junk expo that morning, because I really wanted to bring my truck up there, but I did not want to take a risk and drive it without commercial insurance on it. He called me up that morning. He's like, yo, I got great news. So I went in there happy as hell. Toby really, he saved me, we're talking like, 11,000 off the bat, for the year. So definitely somebody great to talk to. And so green Up Junk, I didn't mean to go on a whole, spiel with that, but definitely check your things out with commercial insurance and having your personal vehicle wrapped. Jeffrey Landon's in the house. He goes, ha ha. I feel like you're talking about Ricardo saying that. Yeah, it's funny, bro. Yeah. You know it, man. I've been following Ricardo from the beginning. I love the guy. I love that he has no filter, and he'll say whatever's on his mind, even if it hurts people's feelings and all that. But a couple of things that he puts out there business wise. Now, I'm not in junk removal, and his whole claim to fame is 17 years in junk removal, and he knows the way and what you should do and what you should do, which I respect. That you're an OG, you did this, you know pretty much everything that the business entails and all. But me coming from a business background, went to college, got all my degrees, and I've had 10 successful businesses since then. And you start learning basics in business and what works and all, and just a lot of things that he says, I gotta say they're wrong. You know what I mean? I just don't agree with it. And it's not just me knowing anything about the junk removal business, it's just business overall. And that's why I'm also having both people on today. I have Andrew Thompson about to pop on. I got you guys on, and that's to show that there's different ways to achieve greatness in this industry. There's not always just one cut formula that's going to work to get you there. And then also, I also seen a recent video that he put out saying that having multiple businesses is not going to work out for you in the junk removal industry. And I'm just like kind of scratching my head trying to like, how does that make sense? I'm your perfect example right here. And he was saying, well, if you were successful in another business, there's no reason you would go and open another business. And I'm just looking and I'm thinking like, no, that's definitely not true, bro. Because, anything that I get into, I go in there with the thought and mindset of I'm going to build this business, scale this business where I'm not going to be running day to day. I'm setting up to put systems in place and to have it where I'm going to have teams of good people that over the years that I'm going to come across, and then I'm going to put them in into the proper positions and all. And I've always did that in every business I did. Now, I agree with him in a certain sense with that. If you have a business that entails that you got to be there day to day, and now you're trying to also get into junk removal and have to be in there day to day, then yes, I do agree. But my other businesses run themselves these days. I had a lot of extra free time. I got into the arm wrestling world. I started a promotion company. I just had so much extra time that I started realizing I'm wasting a lot of time in the arm wrestling business and, just kind of doing my hobby. And I'm putting like 8-9 hours a day in it. What am I doing? I'm doing YouTube. I'm setting up all kinds of events all over the country and all that. And then I said to myself, I could be utilizing my time better and making it more profitable and all that. So I decided I wanted to get into another business, and that's where I found junk removal. So I got to disagree with you, Ricardo, on that, man. I respect you as a person. I know you're very successful. I know you just started your haunted houses, and it's so funny because once I heard about him and his haunted houses, I started looking them up, and I've been going on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, you know what? That might be a perfect fit for me over in Florida. Maybe that's something after I get this business up and running. Maybe that's going to be the next thing. It definitely caught my interest. So I just wanted to say that, and I mean, no disrespect to Ricardo. I think he's a great guy. I love people that have no filter and are willing to say anything and all. And, I just certain things I do disagree. And I do want to invite Ricardo to come on, interview one of these days and, kind of just talk it out with him and all.